Hello, this is a continuation of the previous videos on how to build a beginner portfolio website using only flexbox. And today just wanted to show you guys how to build the view page. So in previous videos I showed you how to build like the main layout, the work page. And work page, it has like two columns basically. These are can be your projects, and say by clicking on this thumbnail, it's a thumbnail, it takes you to a new page where you use just the screenshot of your project, just stack them vertically, and basically it's a very simple, like straightforward layout that can be used for a beginner portfolio website. Okay, so yeah, so this is the project page. Like this is the page for the separate project. And so say for example by clicking on this one, it takes you to just, it can take so you can put the link to your live projects that you built for some clients. Okay, and here under the image you can place the link if you want. So the image itself is a link, and you can also place the link below the image, the link to the live website that you built for the client. So this is our markup for this page. Is again, it's a header. Sorry, it's a body, has a div wrap that wraps our header, which we discussed in previous videos, and the responsive navigation, and also it has the main section. Now in the main section we have slightly different markup from a previous page. We use again divs to wrap the images, but how we structure the markup within the div, so we put image within the anchor. It's a standard practice if you want to have the image as a link as well. So we put a link to a project here in the href in the anchor, and below the image we put a span with the link to a project as well. Okay, and everything is wrapped in the a element in the anchor. Okay, let's now take a look at the CSS. Okay, this is a continuation of the previous CSS file. I've used in the previous videos file called main.css, and now we're gonna use some CSS to style this. So I already have rules, like I'm not gonna waste time just type in the everything. I'm just gonna copy and paste and explain whatever is the portion that I feel is important to understand in this CSS. Okay. So first we have the way we style this separate page is, if you remember guys, I mentioned the class. So on the previous page it was class of dot home, like a class home. We styled via the class, and then same principle here. We put a class view, and then we work through this class to style all the children. Okay, so the first rule is a view flex wrap. Okay, let's see, I'm just gonna click here. So what happens without flex wrap? If we comment it out, okay, so the images just go flex like in a row, and that's because I think we put somewhere it was a flex on the main somewhere. Let me check. Yeah, because we put main on the flex. Sorry, we put flex on the main element, and that's why by default they just go in flex direction row. That's why. Okay, so we do flex wrap, so they wrap, and they wrap within the container. Remember, we have our container. Is here. dot wrap. This is our container given within this div. Okay, so they wrap within that container. So next rule is we target the divs. We target this div, this one, view div, and the rule we put for this is we give it position relative, and I'll explain why. Okay, we give it position relative because we need it to absolutely position a view dot view span, which will be one of the next rules, because the span is within this div. So, and the way this works is why we need position relative. Okay, so on this div it works instead of actually why it works. It's not on the parent, but it still works. So that's the interesting point here. As you can see, basically, yes. So the rule says that we need to add position relative on the parent in order for the child to be placed to be absolutely positioned within, because it forms the positional context. Okay, but what's happening here is if we see the specs, the spec says, so if the element has position absolute, containing block is established by, now it's important, nearest ancestor with the position of absolute, relative, or fixed. So it doesn't have to be a parent. It doesn't have to be a parent. It can be the nearest ancestor. Okay, so that's why position relative works here, because it is on the nearest ancestor, which is div. Okay, the actual parent of the span is a anchor, but we put it on the div. Okay, and also if the parent has position property omitted, which is the case here, then the child div would be positioned relative to the next containing div with a relative or absolute position. Okay, if no such element position property is set on the page, then the child would be positioned relative to the body. Okay, so this is just to explain why it works not on by placing it not on a parent but on their ancestor, which is div. Okay, so I'm just gonna remove this. Again, flex base is 100. It's like a width 100. We give it some margin, and then this padding 1.85 am, and this is actually, it forms the space for the span, for this span where we put our project link. Okay, next rule is we target the last child just to give it some padding bottom and remove bottom margin. Next rule, we give our anchor display block, just because when we're using like blocks, like a block formatting content, like any type of a box, so it's considered best practice for any type of box formatting, because it's a box formatting. It's normally best to set it as block. If this was actually a link within the text of string, then we would set it as inline. It would be just default inline. Okay, so that's our anchor. Then we need to target our images. So image as well, so it's display block, width 100, height and margin auto. This is we're making them responsive, so it will scale, they will scale proportionally, the images. And oops, the next one is hours actually span, which we position absolute based on our ancestor with the position relative. Okay, relative to ancestor position relative, which is this one, and we give it bottom 0, left 7, and then padding I think we don't need here, but you can experiment with padding if you need. Okay, then the font size, and let's see. Okay, this is our link, and the last one we just give it some different color on hover. Okay, and that's basically it for this page. Okay, so let's just check on resize. Okay, on resize it looks like this. So this is our navigation from previous videos. Okay, and then you scroll down, there's our footer. Also you can see it from previous videos how it was built. Okay, so this is our link. This is our screenshots of our project can be, and just by clicking on this it just takes you to a live project. Okay, I forgot to mention that this whole thing, this layout, it can be also applied to any WordPress theme, any theme that you need, that you want to use as your personal beginner portfolio, in case if you're interested in WordPress. Because me, I'm going to use this as a with WordPress. Okay, so next video I'll show you how the about page is built. Okay, as always, thank you for watching.